WordPress, let's go over what you need to have to install it. Now, let me point out that we are looking at hosting WordPress on your own domain name. So we're looking at wordpress.org, which is the script you install. There's also wordpress.com. You don't have complete control over it. So I just wanted to make that clear that we are talking about hosting your own WordPress site. Now, to do that, you're going to have a couple things. Let's go over what you need. First of all, you're going to need a domain name. This is your www address. So there are different places you can register them. For instance, GoDaddy and Namecheap. So you can just go find a domain name by doing a search and register it. The other thing you're going to need is web hosting. Usually you can get web hosting at the same spot where you get your domain name, or you can get it in other places. Personally, I never get them at the same place. I register my domains at one spot and I host them somewhere else. But of course, that's entirely up to you. So for instance, HostGator, you get hosting for as little as $3.99 per month. Now what you need to make sure you get is a MySQL database, and all the packages from HostGator have that. So if we were to go and have a look here, for instance, let's just click up here on web hosting. Okay, and then you have your different plans here. So either get a baby or a business plan if you're going to go with HostGator. So you can compare all the plans by clicking here and just see which one suits your needs. So if you look at the comparison here at what you get, you can see the differences here. Now the main one that you need to watch out for is the one domain name versus unlimited domain names. If you are going to ever build more than one website, you might as well go for the baby plan here. So that's the main difference between these two that you need to worry about. I wouldn't buy one that you can only host one domain on. Of course, that's entirely up to you. Okay, so once you have your domain name and hosting, you can go ahead and start installing WordPress, and that's what we'll go over next here. Now, there are a couple ways to install WordPress. Most hosting providers have a way that you can use an automatic installer. So you'll find something like Quick Install on some hosting providers, and then all you have to do is find WordPress along the left-hand side here. So there it is there under blog software. So you can click on that and then you can go through this wizard. So this is really straightforward. I'm not even going to demonstrate it. However, you should know how to install WordPress the manual way. Sometimes it's better to take control of the whole thing and you should know how to do it. I personally always use the manual install when I'm installing WordPress. So we're going to go over that. So all you have to do is go to wordpress.org and then download the most recent version. You'll find it over here. And then you get to the next page and you want to download the zip file. And just save it to your computer. The next thing you want to do is you want to unzip this. So if you right click here, you can use the built-in extract feature in Windows and unzip it that way, or you can install a program called 7-Zip that you can get for free. You can just do a search for it if you want to use that, or any other program you want to use that'll unzip the files. So you can do a search for 7-Zip if you don't have a way to do it, and it's a free program you can install. I use it because it's the fastest one I found. So I just do extract files, click OK, and it'll extract all of WordPress right to this directory. So your WordPress files will be right inside here and inside the WordPress directory, and there is the whole WordPress script. Now what we need to do is upload that to our hosting account. To do that, you're going to need an FTP client. And you can get a free FTP client called FileZilla. Just do a search for it and download it and install it on your computer. So here's what FileZilla looks like. On the left-hand side, this will be the files on your computer. On the right-hand side, once you hook up to your server, this is where your files will be uploaded to. So to hook up to your server, you can put your host name in here, which is your domain name, and then the username and password for your hosting account. You can also go into your control panel or whatever you have to control your hosting and set up an FTP account there and use that. Now there's also, if you want to file and site manager, you can put your sites in here and that way you'll be able to access them very quickly. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and connect up to my server. Okay, and here is my server on the right hand side. Now on this side, I need to navigate to where my WordPress files are so that I can upload them. Okay, so to upload this, we just go inside here and upload all of these. Now when I upload these over to here, they're going to be available right when I go to my domain name. What I mean by that is if I type my domain name in my browser bar, it's going to go right to WordPress. You can also put it in a directory, so it'll be your domain name / whatever directory you put here. So if you put blog, for instance, it would be your domain name / blog. So depending on which way you want it to appear, whether in a folder or right when you type in your domain name, that will determine how you upload your file. So when I type in my domain name, I want it to go right to my blog. Okay, so we're going to just select all these. Select one and hit Control A, and then right click and upload. So that's going to upload the entire WordPress script there. Now the next thing we need to do is go and create a database for our WordPress blog since it is database driven. So go to the databases section of your control panel. If you're not using cPanel hosting, you'll be able to find it somewhere else, but you will be able to find somewhere to create a MySQL database. So I have this database wizard, so I'm going to go in here. So all you got to do is put a name in here for your database. It's always good to use a name that has something to do with the site you're creating if you can. So I'm just going to call this TST123. The next thing we need to do is create a username that can access the database. And this username and password will be used by WordPress to access the data. I'm just going to name it the same here. And then what you need to do is put a strong password in here, and you can use the password generator. So just copy this and then say that you've copied it somewhere safe. Click use password. You'll see you now have a nice strong password, and then create user. Next thing you need to do is give it all privileges, and next step. Now at this point you have everything you need. What you need to do is save it somewhere in Notepad or somewhere. So what I always do now is I save the information in a Notepad session. So I already have the password in my clipboard, so paste it in there. And then what we can do is just copy this right here. Just copy that one line. That contains your database name and your username, which you'll need during the install. So we'll paste that here. We now have everything we need going forward. Now let's go and see how our upload's doing. You'll see that it's now done. It says successful uploads, no failed uploads. So to get the install going, all we have to do now is type in the location where we uploaded this. So basically I just got to type in the domain name where I uploaded these files, where I want it installed. The first thing you need to do is choose your language. All right, now it's telling us here we need our database name, username, password, database host, and table prefix. So click Let's Go. We have most of that already. So if we bring up our Notepad session here, we can take our password first, Copy that and paste it in where it says password. Now we made our database name and our username the same when we were creating them. So we just got to grab it once here. Just make sure they are the same, because one of them, I think it's the username, can't be quite as long as the database. So just make sure that they are actually the same, and then you can paste them both in here. Of course, if they're different, you need to paste them in properly here. Now, you'll see here something called database host. Most of the time this is right, but not always. So you need to go and determine what goes there. So if you go to database and then you go to phpMyAdmin, you see up in the left-hand corner up here, it says server localhost. So whatever that says there, that's what you need in your install. So that's correct for me. The next thing is a table prefix. This is so you can install multiple instances of WordPress in one database just by changing the table prefix. If you have unlimited databases, then you don't have to worry about changing it. But I always change it from WP just for security reasons. It doesn't matter what it is. I'm just going to call it MT for my test. But whatever you want to do, you can put it here. Okay, let's submit. So it makes sure that everything's right at this point, and then run the install. Okay, so now we'll give it a site title. Then you need a username. Don't use admin, use something else. I'll use blog guy. You need to give it a password and then an email address here. Allow search engines. You can leave this on or off. If you turn it off now during the install process and setup, you're going to need to turn it on later if you want the search engines to be able to find your site. I'm just going to leave it on. So I'll fill the rest of this out and then we'll install WordPress. Okay, and log in. Okay, and I'm just going to have it remember me. We'll click login. And there we have it. WordPress is now installed. Themes, as you might expect, determine the appearance of your site. So if we go here to appearance and then themes, this will bring up the themes that are already installed on WordPress, and it'll show you the active theme right here, and then you can switch to any of these themes here. You can also add other themes, and we'll go over that in a second. Now, also you have plugins. Plugins are down here, and we'll talk about these other things a little later. Let's go to plugins and installed. So there's just a couple installed by default here, but this is where your plugins will show up once you install them. So the first thing we're going to do is work on our theme. So let's go and have a look at what our site looks like right now, right out of the box, right after it's installed. So there is a standard WordPress install at this time with the standard theme. So let's go, if you just put your mouse over here, over top of the title, you can go to the dashboard themes, customize widgets, menus, background, and header, which is mostly about appearance. Okay, so let's just go to the dashboard. And the first thing we're going to do is we're going to create a page for the front. Before we even get to the theme, let's create a home page. So if you'll notice that we have posts and pages. Posts follow a normal blog format where you'll have a post after a post after a post within categories. Pages are outside of that. They're just pages, so they're not part of real blogging. They're more for sites. You can also put a home page on your blog and then have a link to your blogging section, whichever way you want to do it. So I'm going to create a home page here. So I'm just going to click Add New. And I'm just going to put my home page. Okay, and then you can come down here and you'll get these little tips the first time that you come into a new function. You can just dismiss it. But we have visual and text here. So you have a visual editor here with some functions. And you'll see right here, the toolbar toggle is the last thing on here. Will give you some more functionality within the WordPress editor. Okay, so let's just put in here. Now you can also add media, so videos and pictures and so on, by going to add media here. And then you can upload media right onto your WordPress site by dragging it right into this section, or you can select a file off your computer. So let's just put a picture on here so I can show you how it works. So I'm just going to drag a picture up here. And you'll see that it's dropping it there. And there it is. So over on this side, we can add a title to it. We can add a description to it, alt text. This is all optional. And then you can insert it in the page by clicking here, and it will insert it there. If you click on the image, you get some things you can do with it. You'll see up here we can go and do some different functions with it here. And they come up under there, so no alignment right now. So if we want to align left, like that. Now, any text we put over here will align to the side. Okay, so there's a quick use of the editor there. You have all these other things here. For instance, you can put a link in here and link your picture or your text off to something else. So it's just a basic editor, kind of like a word processor, but quite limited. The text over here, this brings up the HTML. You're not going to want to use that unless you know HTML, and just stick with the editor. Over on the left-hand side here, you can change the visibility. So right now it's a draft, and when we publish it, it will no longer be a draft. Visibility, so it can be public or password protected or private. If it's private, of course, nobody can see it. If it's password protected, they're going to have to put in a password. And public is just what it sounds like. Down here, you can put it in underneath a page, underneath a parent page. So it would be a sub page if you want to do that. And then the order, this is how you can order your pages in the list. Okay. You can also set images as a featured image. Let's just publish this. Okay, now the reason I put the page here is I wanted to show you how you can set a home page for your site. We're going to go into the settings a little later, but what we're going to go do is go into settings and reading. And then over here, this is how you can set a home page for your site by just clicking on a static page and then click in here and click on the page you want for your home page and save changes. Now when we go visit the site, our front page is now the page that we just created. Okay, now I've shown you that. What I want to do now is show you how to install other themes. So let's go to themes. And then if you want to use one of the other themes, say we want to use this one, we can just go over here, do a live preview, and it'll show us in advance what it looks like. And then if we like that, we can save and activate. And then if we visit the site now, it will have changed the theme. All right. Let's go back to themes again. I just want to show you how you can install a theme from the WordPress directory. You'll see up here now it says add new, or here add new. They both do the same thing. Let's click add new. And then it comes up into the WordPress directory here, and it'll show you the featured ones, then popular, latest, and you can also search if you have something in specific in mind. So to install it, let's just pick any one here. Okay, so say we want to install that one, all you got to do is click install. Now at this point, it's on your site, but you can do a live preview first before you go any further and make sure you actually want it there. If you don't like the way it looks, you don't have to go any further. Okay, so there it is. I don't want to continue with this one, so I'm just going to hit the X up here. And I'm going to return to theme installer. Okay, so I haven't changed anything yet. I've just put another theme on there. Let's go search for a theme. I'll say pets. Let's see what comes up. Not much in that case. But let's install this one. Let's do a live preview. Okay, let's save and activate. So that's how easy it is to change your theme. You just got to go and pick one, install, and then it's there. Now let's go have a look at plugins. We touched on plugins at the beginning of this video, but let's just go a little further into it right now. Now you'll see that when we install the theme now, it is asking us to install a plugin. I don't want to do that because I'm not actually going to use that theme. So I'm just going to go back and I'm going to put back one of the default themes here. So let's just put back this one. And I'll save and activate. All right, now let's go back into plugins and install plugins. So like I said before, this is where your plugins will be, and you can activate them in here, delete them, and edit them. So I'm going to delete this Hello Dolly plugin. It's just a sample plugin they put as a placeholder there, and then I'm just going to delete. That's how you can delete a plugin out of there after you deactivate it. Adding new plugins is very similar to adding themes. Just click Add New. And then same thing again. You have featured, popular, recommended, favorites, and then you can search. Now let's go to popular. Now I suggest installing a couple of them right away. What I always like to install is an all-in-one SEO pack. This helps the search engines find your site. There's alternatives to this as well, but I'm just going to use this one. So I'll just do install now, click OK, and I'm not going to activate it yet. I'm going to go back to the plugin installer. And we'll come in and activate it in a minute. So let's go back to popular. And then I want to put in the Google XML sitemap. So here it is here. I'm going to install it. Click OK. And then I'm going to return to plugins. So I could have activated it from there. So I'm going to actually go back to installed plugins here. So now we have those plugins sitting here ready to be activated. So I'm going to activate the all-in-one SEO pack. Okay, and then it gives us a little message here. And we can go back to that. And next we're going to activate the Google XML sitemap. So this will notify Google anytime there's a change to our site. So if we make a post, it'll notify Google. So it's good to help you with the search engines as well. Okay, so that's really all I want to go over with plugins. It's as simple as doing a search and installing them. There are tens of thousands of plugins that you can install for WordPress. You can even buy custom plugins. And if you buy a custom plugin, you're going to have to usually upload it from your server because it won't be in the WordPress codex. So what you would do is you would upload a plugin and then you would just pick it off your computer. So wherever it is, you just browse for it and you install it this way. Okay, so that wraps up plugins. In the next video, we're going to go over the settings.